I was kind of a meathead junior when I was a little bit younger, not as much in my later junior years, but like I was just like any kid. You don't know how to handle pressure. You don't know why you feel the way you do. And a lot of times when my parents would come travel with me, I wouldn't let them watch me play. If we play one bad round, and it's like, oh no, you can't watch me anymore, because that's the reason why I played bad, right? I mean, you're so irrational as a kid. And so I look back at those days and it's just like, wait, you're such a
welcome back to
such
the
an
pod,
idiot.
And to part 2 of Dillon Batsel. Today you will hear through the mind of a pro the breakdown of an incredible round of 58. And if you're enjoying the show, please like and subscribe to all of our episodes.
So can we talk about the 58?
Yeah, absolutely.
We were saying the Medicine News beat us to the punch.
I did see that this morning. Yes, I haven't had a chance to read it completely yet, but I was a little bit busy today. But my mom sent it to me this morning, so I'll probably read it when I'm winding down tonight. So,
all right. Well, walk us through it. You start on 10.
Yeah, I'll gladly. So I'll give you a little bit of context here. We've talked about shooting a sub 60 round at DB lots, and just because of the 5 par 5s and the 2 drivable 4s, just would maybe just be a little bit easier than say a Connaught or the Med Hat, right? And
so are you talking about this during the round or like after, during beers?
No,
or both?
like we just in general we've talked about it once. Like someone can do it out here, whether it was me, Mike, or Ryan, somebody can do this out here, and it's just a little bit easier, I think, out there, especially with DB. The par 5s, if you can hit it a certain length, they're very gettable compared to even some other ones in town. And it just leads to you having a decent amount of eagle looks every round, right? More than any course that I've ever played, at least played a decent amount. And so we've always talked about it. And so going into men's league, and this year I've been hitting the ball as good as I ever have. Putter's been shaky, been working on a few things these last couple of weeks. And so I started to see a little bit of improvement there. But we went into men's league, and usually for men's league, it's obviously very chill. I very rarely hit balls before we go play. Just because even this month, I've been doing the junior camps and they went right up to 4:00. And so usually, I'm not really warming up before. I'm just trying to get the boys all together, and we're hanging out before. And so that's what we did on Wednesday. And then we started on 10, and it's really windy that day. Like really windy. Like and all the boys were like, "Oh, this kind of sucks," because it wasn't supposed to be that windy.
Are you trying to make this sound more difficult?
No, I'm not. I'm trying to give you some context on the first
we played it.
Yeah.
It was windy.
And I was like, what? And all the guys were like, oh, like we never get a calm night. Like it's always windy on men's league this year. And I'm like, yeah, it kind of sucks. And so we're standing on the 10th tee as a 9-some, sorry, because our group had 5. And Mike, Ryan, Nolan, and Brian Hodgins go first, and they hit up there. They hit good drives. And so we're just warming. We're shooting the breeze, and they're on the green, and the pin's back right. And usually the 10th tee is the 10th hole of the day. And so ripping driver at the green is much more doable when you've hit 5 drivers already. But it's straight downwind. And so when we're playing the greens, it's straight downwind, especially when it's blowing like that. If I hoist a driver, I can land it on the green if I hit it right, but usually not on the first swing of the day
without a warm up.
And so we get up there, and, if you ask anyone that plays with me, like I always take a few swings and I back cracks and, I take a little bit longer. And so on that tee shot there, I hoisted one and just hit it good for not swinging before. And as soon as I hit it, I knew it was going to be good. And it landed on the front of the green, went to just for short of the ridge, 40 feet away. And I just, in the past, whether it's a putt on the first hole or a swing like that, it's just like when I didn't warm up and the swing feels that good, like I know something is maybe a little bit different today. Like it's going to be a good day. Same thing as on the greens. Like if I'm on the first hole and I have a 15-footer and I roll it right in the center and just everything felt good, you just have a feeling that it could be a good day. And so I 2-putted 10, hit it up to, and we're playing Wolf, by the way. Okay. So if you're not familiar with Wolf, for anyone listening, it's just a game where you take turns being the Wolf, and the person who is the Wolf gets to choose their partner for the hole. So that hole I had about a 4-footer, hit it a little bit past, had a 4-footer win the hole for birdie, made that. Cullen was really, really happy. So I was playing with Cullen Bradshaw, Troy Gedney, Matt Spafford, and who am I missing? Troy Gedney, Cullen, Matt. Oh, they're going to be pissed if they listen. Troy, Cullen, Matt, and I don't know, the last one will come to me. But anyways, Cullen was my partner in the first hole, roll that one in. And he's all pumped up. We win the hole. So, Jordan Forsyth. So we win that hole. We go to 11. And 11, the wind's off the left into. Worst wind for a draw of the golf ball. Like just because I can't aim right. Because if I aim right, I'll hit it too far and I'll go OB. And I'm not hitting through it. So I have to take it over like the left side of the bunker and let the wind, trust that the wind's going to bring it back so that I'm by the 150-ish. And if I pull it at all, I'll go OB. So it's not a fun win for me. So aim down the kind of the cart path, try to play just like a hold shot, and wind takes it. Hit a good drive. So I had about 155. Pin was in the front, and it is blowing straight into. So, and I've been working on this shot a lot. Narrow the stance. Feel like I'm taking it back to about right here and opposed to right there, and just hit something that just comes out dead flat. And I use it when it's into the wind or if I'm hitting like a knockdown shot. And so I had 155 and I just chipped this little 7, like literally felt like I was hitting at 60, just the wind doesn't touch it. And went to about 15 feet right of the pin. And I got another putt to win the hole. I give up on 11. So it'd be a 3 for 4, but roll that one in. I'm like, okay. So we're 3
for those listening, I give up means the guy has like a +8 handicap.
Yeah.
He's giving course.
Yeah, so I give up 8 shots in men's league. And so 11's the third hardest hole in the course. So I give up on 11. So made that putt. So I'm 3 under through 2. I'm like, okay, that's a good start. But honestly, at this point, that not that we start at the back very often, but being 2 under through 2 or 3 under through 3, like that happens decently frequently. So it's not like alarm bells are sounding and like, okay guys, we're on 59 watch or anything. Like it's just, when you play, I get to play with a lot of good players. That happens quite frequently. So it's nothing to be.
So you didn't say you were going to shit your pants?
No, I didn't. Because
that happened to me.
Yeah.
Not that I want to break stride, but knowing that our target audience is middle-aged golfers trying to hang on. What's that like? You're going, well, that's not infrequent to start out 3 under 3, and as Sheldon said, we're going, oh boy, what are you gonna do? I got another 15 holes to go.
54 watch.
And so, but no, it's and you play with guys like Mike and Ryan and Tuna and all those guys, like it happens quite frequently. So it doesn't, for when you see that happen all the time, it's like, okay, let's go to the next. Like nothing is out of the normal. And so then we go to 12 and then same wind straight into on 12 and it's 163. And I was trying to hit the same shot with a 6-iron, and Ryan will laugh or Mike will laugh because they always say I hit too much club. And sometimes if it hits it right, the wind doesn't touch it and it just goes way too far, right? But it's a fine line between doing that and overhitting it, spinning it up in the air and leaving it 50 yards short, 40 feet short. So 163, it's into a heavy wind at this time, and I just chip a 6 and it's pins back left and it's going right at it. I'm like, okay, this is perfect. But the wind's not touching it. So I had a feeling it was going to be just a little long. Lands like this far from the pin on that back left pin and runs out to about 25 feet. So very happy with that shot. Thought it was going to be a little bit closer, but very pleased with that shot. And then from about 25 feet, it broke about 2 cups to the left, hit a great putt, and I thought I made it. And it just broke last second. And so I'm like thinking to myself, that's 3 putts that I've had. I've hit it exactly the way that I wanted to. And trust me, I know I don't do that very often. As much as people think I might be like this, I don't hit very good putts very often for what I'm trying to do. So when I do hit 3 in a row like that, it's like, okay, that feels a little bit better. Like that's good. And so then we get to 13.
Can I pause for a minute?
Yeah.
Because this is such a good story. I don't want to rush through it.
No,
I also want to put some context.
Yeah.
Have you heard about the drink rule?
No,
it's the drink rule.
Well, if you hit a bad putt and you get mad and it goes in, is that the drink rule?
Well, but it could be for any shot.
Okay,
right?
yes.
Oh no!
Yes.
And it happens.
So kind of like a Hideki, one arm it.
That's it.
And goes to a couple of feet.
So are you a verbalizer when you miss? Like, would you say, oh no? Like you say something, would people know that you're angry and then it happens?
I don't know. Maybe I don't think so. I'm not Jordan Spieth out there, right? I don't think I am. Maybe my playing companions.
Because it can be even body language. Like it doesn't have to be verbal.
Yeah.
Would they see your reaction physically?
I'd like to say no.
Okay.
But you'd have to, like I said, maybe I'm not self-aware enough in that context, but you'd have to talk to a guy like Ryan or Mike who knows my game well too. But I don't think so.
And they wouldn't. Would they would your group think of introducing that rule to the group?
Yeah, maybe. If I bring it to them, we'll see. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm just trying to get them to play for a little bit more money. So I don't know if I want to enter more games into
that sounds like a low handicap against.
Yeah, no, trust me. I pay more than I get. I promise you. I promise you.
Gosh,
I especially when we have a funny, like in our groups, we have a group called like low man's matches, and so low man's matches is when we get 4 pluses together and then no strokes are given, right? So that's what we try to do. But if we're playing with some guys that are even like mid single digits, then we play strokes. But we like to try to get the low man's matches going as much as we can, so that we can very team champs-esque, right? Where you're not, once you're in the A, you're not giving any shots. It's just all straight up. And I'm not oblivious like that. Obviously, I like that because it favors me. But I do like it too because it's just, I don't know. It's just Ryder Cup style.
But you're comfortable paying money to play with your friends?
Not even it doesn't bother me even a little bit. Yeah. Even a little bit. As long as if I get the most important thing to me is just having them out there. So I could pay them all day to come out.
So you would never, like, every single time you go out, make mention of, oh, it's really hot, really fun to come out and have to pay money to play with my friends. Like, you wouldn't say that every time you come out.
I wouldn't say that. No, I wouldn't say that.
It's a bit different.
I wouldn't. I'd maybe say it every once in a while, but to keep things in balance. But no, I wouldn't say that.
And you were saying $50. Like, we have finally this year. $5 entry fee.
Yeah,
like, that's what we've finally arrived at, and we still have people saying, I don't think I can come today.
Every group is different. There's no one way to do things. We just happen to have a bunch of degenerate gamblers in my group, so we like to play for a little bit of cash. So, and I think it does make people happy when there is a definitive. If you win $20 to $30 in a match, like, you can do something with that. You can go buy yourself supper or something like that. But I think just we like playing for money, and I'm lucky that like the guys that we play with, they enjoy that too. Not everyone does, and that's why we have had to. We've made changes to our groups over the year. Like, we used to play $35, $40 total because you'd be playing team games and presses and deuces and skins, and that's come down quite a bit. So, and then, but we talk about it on the first tee. Everyone's different. Like, tomorrow morning, we'll be playing full, we'll call it the full meal deal, right? We'll get card game going front back. We'll get deuces. We'll get 5-5-5 presses. We'll get what we call that the full meal deal. So the group we have tomorrow, that will be the case. So we like those ones, but
nice. Sorry to interrupt. We're on 13.
No, yeah, 13, So 13 teams.
It's 3 under after 3.
Yeah. So 13, probably we should be playing. Obviously, it's greens, but from blacks, I wouldn't. If we played that back box more often, but it obviously suits me very well because, especially into the wind, there's maybe only a few guys that can get over, especially in the wind. Lots of people can get over when it's calm or down, but to be into the wind, you have to hit it. I'd say you probably have to hit it comfortably 310 and be able to flight your ball without spinning it. And so, at least in the group that we play in, there's only a few guys that can do that. So it definitely offers a huge advantage if I can knock it up by the green and have a chip instead of a 130-yard shot into the wind. So on 13, it was straight into blowing hard. 3 of our guys who can get over if they hit a driver lay up. And then I hit a shot where wind's coming a little bit off the right. So I didn't want to draw it. I kind of wanted to ride the wind a little bit. So just hit kind of like a flatter cut at the path, let it bleed over, hit a good drive, hit it just in that collection area on the left. Pin was front right. So it was a very easy chip. Actually kind of hit a crappy chip, hit it to like 6 feet, but it was straight in up the hill and made that one. So, so now we're 4 under through 4. Okay, so I'm like, okay, this is nice start. Now I'm thinking, let's try to shoot 29 on this side, because shooting 29 at the back at DB is a little bit easier just with it being a par 35 with 2 par 5s. So it's a par 35 with only 1. Obviously, it makes it harder, but if you can mix in 1 eagle, it makes you only have to make 4 other birdies. And so we get to 14, and the wind's helping a little bit off the right, off of my right shoulder, and the pin's back right. So it's not a very I don't like that wind. I don't mind it if I have less loft, but with a wedge, I can't really cut a wedge. It's harder. So, with how much loft there is. So I kind of have to aim right at the green and let the ball ride the wind. So I hit a great shot, started it right at the green, came in, landed like this far from the hole, rolled out to like 4.5 feet. But the pin was here, my ball's here. So my putt broke about half a cup, maybe a cup. And I just softed it a little bit and I missed that one. So missed the birdie on 14. And so then we get to 15. So I'm 4 under through 5. And I know 16, 17, 18, maybe not 17, but 16, 18, there's a good chance, especially with the tees being in front of the water on 16, that I'll have a good birdie looks there. So, and 15 tee shot from the greens, I don't like it very much because my driver runs out on the left. So I kind of have to hit it at the fescue on the right and trust that it's going to kick off that fescue, because if I hit it down the middle and if there's any draw on, it's going to spin and kick left and it's going to reach that hazard that's about 70 yards out on the left. So I have to fit it in a gap that's very narrow. So I walked up it straight downwind, blowing like 50 clicks. I can hit a hybrid too if I hit it properly to up 100 yards. So I'll have 60 yards in, a 60 degree in. So I walked to the tee and I had the box. I walked to the tee with my hybrid, and then we don't play like we're playing casually, especially with 5 guys. We got to keep the pace up. So whoever's ready to go. But Jordan goes first and he hits driver. Jordan Forsyth hits it long ways and he roasts it down there and he's like 15 yards in front of the green. And we can see it from the tee. That's how far up it went. And all the guys are like, whoa, you got to hit driver. You can drive the green if you hit it good. It's just men's league, man. Like what are you doing hitting a hybrid? And I'm like, so I go back and get my driver. And sure enough, I pull it like 10 yards maybe. I'm aiming down the right, like just over the bunker, right edge of the bunker. And I pull it like 10 yards, lands in the fairway, and it goes and it kicks left. Horrible kick. If it kicked right, it probably would have been okay. But of course it's going to kick left. It's like this, and it was drawing. But it kicks left, and it goes into hazard by like that much. And I can't play because it's like, as you guys know, the hazard is very thick at DB right now. So I had to take a drop. And so I hit a pretty bad 60 degree to like 30 feet and 2 putted for a 5. So nice 5, buddy. Just dink your hybrid down there and just, you're hitting your wedges good. You're putting good. You're going to have a birdie look. And even like where Jordan hit it to, this is what pisses me off the most. Where he hit it to, and I know this, it's a hard chip because the pin was just over the ridge and I saw that on the tee. You need to have some spin coming in there, right? And so hitting that shot from 30 yards short is not easy. Like I'd rather have 100 yards in. So that makes even more irrational why hit driver off the tee, other than just that it's midnight. You hit driver on every hole no matter what.
You got bullied into it.
Yeah. And so bogey that one. And then I'm like, okay, that's kind of lame. That kind of takes any crazy special things off the equation. And so then we get to 16 and winds kind of cross, hit a great drive up there. Tees were up. So I was like 10 yards short of the green and then chipped it to like 3 feet and tapped in for birdie. Then we get to 17. So I'm back to 4. Then we get to 17 and the wind was off our left shoulder, 173. And so I'm hitting it this way off the left shoulder, pins middle right. And so with my irons lately, I'm trying to hit it pretty straight. I'm trying not to have too much curvature on it, especially when there's some wind going. And so I just aimed at the middle of the green, knowing that if I just hit it straight, chippy 9-iron, the wind would kind of pull it back to the right. And I watched a couple guys before me hit it, like the wind take it to the right and hit it in the hazard. So hit a good 9-iron. I thought it was going to be really good, but just, impossible to judge the yardage on that hole perfectly, especially when it's blowing like that. So ended up being about 12 to 15 feet short, just short left, and then hit a great putt, made that one. So, okay, we're back in action. And then on 18 tee, 18 was there's 2 shots to me that were my best swings of the day. 18 tee was one of them, because from the greens, it's a very awkward angle for me. And for a guy that likes to primarily draw his driver, it's a horrible tee shot. So, because you have to aim at the hazard, and especially if you hit it over 300, you can't just aim at the rocks and hit it straight. You have to take it on and have a set of kahunas and take an aggressive line. Otherwise, you'll blow it into the hazard long. And so by the rocks there. So with the wind coming into off the right, makes it even worse because I have to aim even further right if I'm going to play a straight to draw shot just to get it in the middle of the fairway. So that angle just doesn't suit me very well. And I hate cutting it into a right to left wind. I don't like doing that. So I aimed at the olive tree and hit a really good drive. I was very happy with it and started it out of the hazard, drew it back in with the wind, and it ended up being 185 to that back right pin. And so perfect shot. And then a little bit of a downslope, so it was going to flight naturally. But I chipped that same shot I hit on 11 and 12. I hit it with a 5-iron, which was a little bit too much club, especially if the wind didn't touch it at all. But I chipped a 5-iron, hit it right where I was looking, right in the middle of the green, and it landed pin high and it scooted to the back of the green. And so now I had about 35 feet for eagle, and this one was to win the wolf hole too. I remember that, and so a little extra incentive there, and hit a good putt. And it didn't break to the right, and it kind of just burned the edge. I thought it made it for a quick second, and then tapped in for birdie, and that was 29. So
6 under.
6 under. So and that was good, right? And I was happy with that. Usually don't start with 29 because usually we start on the front. It's a little harder to shoot 29 on the front when it's a par 37. So it was a little bit interesting. I've only shot 29 on my opening 9 twice. I've shot it on the back 9 a handful of times, but I've never started out with a 29. So I've only done that twice. Once at Connaught when I was younger, and then that time right there, even though it wasn't the front 9 at Desert Moon, but that's, the first 9 that we played. So then we get to one's crosswind right to left, and just played a big draw, let it ride. So aimed kind of over by 9's rough on the right side, and just hit a really good drive and got it all the way up there. Which when it isn't downwind, I do have to hit a good drive to get it up by the green. So got it all the way up there, just short of the green. But it was a bad pin to be where I was because the pin was front left, and I'm just in the rough barely. But I kind of it's pretty touchy because you kind of have to almost kind of flop it, but at the same time, you don't want to have to flop it from 10 yards short of the green, but you can't really bump it up. It's just you're short left of that green. Yeah. It's just a tougher shot. So I hit a really good shot, and it just kind of scooted by the hole, went to about 4 feet, and made that.
But you are not for men's league people. You are not entered in men's league.
No.
Yes, because I won my only skin of the year on that hole on
yeah.
Wednesday night. I was thinking everybody's going to birdie one, and no one birdied one.
But it wouldn't have mattered. I give up on one, so it would be 3 for 4. Yeah. So you would have still won, even if I played. You and still would have won.
That's supposed to be me.
So I would have needed to chip that in to saw you off. But and then we get to 2, and 2's 176. Right, that pin's right in the middle of the green. So super, super easy shot. Just got to get the yardage right. Winds off the left shoulder again, and it was the same shot as 17. So hit it, just aimed left of the pin, try to hit it straight, and let the wind bring it. I hit it exactly how I wanted to. I thought it was going to be very good. So, but how sometimes on 2 you can't tell where the ball is. Sometimes you can't even tell where that pin is. If it's in the front or if it's in the middle, it's just tough to gauge from down below. So we get up there, and I was hoping it was going to be tap-in, and it was about 15 feet short. So just not quite as close as I thought. But it was an easy putt, left edge, straight up the hole, straight up the green, and hit a good putt, and it just didn't turn, and it just kind of burned it. And actually that one kind of lipped out a bit. So parred that one. And then we get to 3. On 3, the wind is into off the right. And when we play men's league, one of the shots I like to hit is just kind of like a squeezy, soft driver, because I like to kind of keep it flat so it runs all the way down to that
like a bunt.
We refer to it as the Mo Bunt.
The Mo Bunt, yeah.
He uses it on par 3s.
Exactly. We got some long ones at DV, so don't feel too bad about that. But I like it a little flatter, and then also I cut my driver if I do have to hit one better than I cut my 3-wood. I trust it more, and so with that hole kind of shaping this way. I just squeezed a little driver down there, and it went perfect down to about 265 to the pin. I was right beside the 250 marker, but that night the pin was back right. So it was playing 265, and the wind was into off the right. And so once again, this was the other shot I was talking about. This was my best swing of the night because 3 second shot always is hard for me because I like to draw the ball. But, you hit a good drive down there. And if in order for me to hit a 3-wood on the green, I got to start it at the hazard. And if I aim middle, I can hit it straight, but chances are it's going to draw a little bit and it'll take me left to the green. So if I want to get on the green, which on 3, it's tough to do in 2 shots, I gotta suck it up. I gotta aim at that right bunker. I gotta trust that I'm not going to block it. And so that night, wind's coming off the right into, and I aimed at the hazard and just let the wind ride and hit a perfect shot, sent it up into the air, and it landed right in the middle of the green, kind of right above, if you think of the middle left here. So best shot I hit that night, in my opinion, and had a very good look, 35 feet, 40 feet for eagle, but it was very straight, little right break, and I almost made it. And I knew if I made that one that it could be special because you're getting 3 is not even a guaranteed birdie. So if you're making 3 there, you're picking up a shot and a half from what you normally play. So tapped in for birdie there. So now I would be 8, and then on 4. The pin was middle, but it was kind of just over the bunker. And it was a horrible yardage. It was 163, and it was straight downwind. But a wedge for me, if the wind doesn't touch it, that's a long wedge for me. And the last thing I want to do is sometimes if you don't get it up in the air and it doesn't sail, you're short in that bunker, and that's not an easy shot. But at the same time, that's way too little yardage for me to hit a 9. So I didn't know what to do. You know, if I'm going to get it really close, I probably have to hit the wedge and trust that I send it up and the wind's going to touch it. But this is part of the round where the wind was actually starting to die down a little bit. So I didn't know if it was there or not. So I ended up going like I always do, with more club and swinging softer. And I choked up on a 9 and I chipped it and it went right at it. But as soon as I hit it, I'm like, sit down. And it lands right beside the hole and it goes out to 20 feet. So I'm like, kind of lame, right? But like,
you're buying a drink.
Yeah.
That's a drink. Yeah, we can actually apply that after.
Yeah, that's no problem. That's fine with me. But and it was actually lucky. So Cullen was in the bunker, and he hits it too far. There's straight downwind, so very easy to do. And he goes about 5 feet beside me, but like on a very, very similar line to me. And when I first looked at the putt, I thought just outside right, and then Cullen went and it didn't move. And so I'm like, oh, beautiful. So I aimed kind of just a little bit more left, didn't give the whole away, and made it. So I'm like, okay, let's go. We're at 9 now. We got 2 par 5s left. Like now is the first time where I'm letting myself be like, we can shoot 59 tonight, right? If you make a few, like you can easily birdie 4 of the last 6 or whatever, 4 of the last 5 or 3 of the last 5, it would have been. Oh yeah, I would need 4 of the last 5. You can do that. So then we get to 5.
Sorry, are you basically like you're throwing a no-hitter right now and like no one is talking to you?
Yes, and that's another funny, like just little subplot is that anytime, like whether it's Ryan or Mike or myself, again, like I said, I've been fortunate enough to have those scenarios come up, you know, and more than the average person, where you have a really special round going and everyone knows it, but golf's such a stupid game where they think that one thing that I might say might just derail the whole train, right? So it's like, oh, what are you at right now? Oh, don't ask him that. Like, and everyone's kind of like nervously quiet. No one wants to be like, hey, you're playing really good, or like, what are you at? Like, or like, no one wants to say anything. And I didn't say anything just because, you know, you don't want to be the guy like, hey guys, 59 today. We're feeling like after you start in the front 920, like, and then you go lay an egg on the back nine. Like, that's the last thing you want to do. So I hadn't said anything to that point. Obviously, you know, they know I'm playing well. Like, do they know what I'm at? I don't know, right? But they know I'm playing well. And so then we get to 5, and 5 is where things really started to get serious. And so 5, the wind is off my left shoulder to the right. I always look at Mardian's flag there to get the yardage. And so I'm aiming just down the middle and I'm letting ride the wind again. So I kind of just hit a straight shot that I feel like cuts, but to the normal eye would be like, that's still drawing, but I feel like it's cutting. And so hit a little kind of cut and it goes down there. I thought it was going to be really good. And I get up there and like, we can't find my ball. And I know it's perfect. You know, I know.
Was there panic at this time or not?
It was a little concerning because we took a while to look, but we went over to my partner's ball first and we took my time. And I'm like looking over in the right. I'm like not seeing my ball. I expected it to be in the fairway. But then sometimes, you know, like I can hit the path there and be 120 yards out. Like I can't get there without hitting the path, but you know, you can't really see, especially when you're 5'7", you can't really see down the hill. So sometimes you know, after everyone hits, we go up there and like, oh, it's way down there. But we went up there and it wasn't there. So then I like looking around like, where's my ball? I know I wasn't far enough to be in the hazard. And I know playing the greens downwind, even if I was right, it would kick down off that stuff. So I can't find it. And then we get over finally, and my ball's kind of sitting down in the rough a little bit. And that's why we couldn't see it initially. And I had 171 to the flag. And if I had a nickel for every time I flew 5 green from a flyer lie, I'd be retired, be a golfer right now. But so that hole always terrifies me about going long, because you catch a flyer in the rough and just sails, and you're in Kimball's backyard. And so I'm 170 and the pin's front left, and my ball's kind of sitting down just enough where I'm not worried about the crazy flyer. And I think that actually, for it being a bad lie, I got lucky, because if it was a crazy flyer, I don't know if I would have had the proper club for that shot. I would have had to try to either hit something too hard or too soft, and it wouldn't have ended up where it did. But it's straight downwind now, and my ball's not going to spin. So there's literally probably, if I'm going to keep it on that bottom left here, there's probably a 5-yard window where I have to land this ball. If I land it too short, it's not going to bounce up with the wedge. And if I land it too long, it's going to scoot to the back, and I probably won't have a great look at 3. So I just got lucky. It came out perfect. It didn't jump too much, but it jumped enough to make wedge to 170. And it landed, if the pin is on the front left, it landed just pin high on the right, but then it spun a little bit and it rode the ridge and it came back down. It's like literally the only place I could have landed it. And it ended up finishing probably 16 feet from the hole. So like very happy with that shot. And went up to that one and it actually broke a good amount. And when I'm putting good, and it doesn't happen too often, hopefully can make it happen. I can think there's like 3 rounds in my life where I'm very happy how I putted, and I can kind of, in my pre-shot routine, I can kind of see, like I kind of trace the line with my eyes before I hit it. And I don't know why I don't do that all the time, but it just happens when I'm putting good. I can see that better. And that was the first time that day where I remember that, and I did that, and it went right in the middle. And as soon as I hit it, I knew it was going in, and it went in, and I finally acknowledged, I said, we got something serious going here, boys. And they're just like all kind of started laughing and stuff like that. And so that took me to 11. And now it's like, I know if I can birdie 6 or 7, like very real chance that I shoot 59, because 8 and 9 are gimmies today. And 7 was a little harder, but 6 is always a gimme. And so if I can just get the right putts to go in, like this is very real. And so then 6 comes along, and it's kind of just a crosswind. And I was not going left. So sometimes on 6, if I'm feeling really good, I'll try to aim down the left side and not just bail out to that right fairway. But I'll aim at the barber pole, and I'll just swing as hard as I can. And if it draws, it draws. If it goes straight, it goes straight. And so that one, just aimed at the barber pole, swung as hard as I could, and just like roasted one. And that's when I started getting a little bit like, not like nothing uncontrollable, but like just you're a little nervous, right? Because now you start to acknowledge that you have a chance to do something pretty cool. So I was a little nervous on 6, and I hammered it. And I love it when I'm nervous and still like execute. That gets me fired up. And so I hit a really good drive there, and I was into it wasn't even helping on 6, and I was 67 yards to the pin, and the pin was in the back. So I smoked it, and the pin was over the ridge, and I had 67 yards, which is kind of just like maybe like a very, very, very soft 60, like what I call a front foot 60, probably even less than that. And I hit a good shot, and it was going right at the pin. I thought it was maybe going in for a second, but it landed on the downslope instead of landing it a little further. And it was just enough. If I landed it 1 yard further, it would have spun. It would have been a tap in, maybe gone in. But it kicked off the downslope, and it just ran out to about 6.5 feet. And I'm like, oh God, I just don't want to have to. I don't want to have to putt. Like I just want to have a tap in.
Do you know what again, sorry to pause, but
yeah.
You know what a situation is?
I don't. What's a situational?
It's just it's like calling your own gimme.
Yeah.
So it's just, you don't need gimmies from anybody else. Like, when you need to take a putt.
Yeah. I get that. No, I totally understand that.
So in our group, this is a point of contention.
Yes.
It started like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
Where at any point in the round, it couldn't be a crazy amount, but you knock one by 4 feet, you walk up, put it in your pocket, and no one can say anything.
Yeah.
That's my situational.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it has become, as we've now, we're playing for big money.
Yeah.
Sheldon has had it with the situational.
Yeah.
So why we just let
things are too
everyone
serious.
gets one around. Just pick up the ball.
Yeah.
You just make it fair. Everyone gets one. Like,
yeah. No, it's funny, the dynamics in every group. I love hearing about that because
so this was probably a situational in another group, but not yours. You've got 6.5 feet.
6.5 feet, and it's like just that you guys know, like that putt from above the hole, that pin on 6, like it breaks quite a bit. So just I mean, not overly the putt I want, right? But I mean, I'm putting good today, so I'm not too worried about it. And it's a 6.5 foot putt, but it probably broke a cup and a half, and I just hit it soft enough, and it went in through a fist bump. Maybe even might have maybe
little scream.
Yeah, a little scream.
We were
right?
on 4. I think at that point.
Then you probably would have heard it. Just a little like come on, like let's go.
Yeah, because that round took forever, didn't it?
Well, we saw that Hodgins.
Yeah.
Hodgins was on the mound on 7 beside us.
Yeah. And so now this is full on, like this is happening. Like I'm making this happen. And now I'm standing on 70, and all I need is one more birdie. I'm not going to make a bogey coming in. So just need one more birdie, and I got this, right? Like lots of good golfers go their lifetime and not do a sub 60 round. Like I got to make this happen. You don't know, like you like to think that it's always going to be there and then you have a chance, but you just never know. But 7 just was an awkward tee shot because it was into the wind off the left. So I don't, like I told you guys earlier, I don't like curving the ball with my driver too much. I can, but I don't love it curving it into the wind. So whether it's wind going to that way and drawing it back into it, or whether it's the wind going the other way and cutting into it, it's not my favorite shot, especially on 7 when all you have to do is miss the fairway by 1 yard and it could potentially take a bad kick and go OB. So that fairway is literally 15 yards wide. And so, especially with the wind coming off the left, if I want to be in the fairway, I either got to aim at the bunker and trust that I'm not going to overdo a draw, or I got to aim up the left side, the path, and kind of play that hold shot where I just let the wind bring it over. But it's tough because I'm standing on the tee and now I'm like, this would be the most nervous I'd be in the round because I know that this is the only chance I have of screwing this up, right? The only thing you can do to stop you from doing this, other than not making a birdie, but the only thing that really ends it is if you pull it even a little bit and it kicks OB, right? And then the whole, all of it's done. So, but I'm at the same time, I am not ever going to hit it onto 4T. Too many guys in our group do it, and they do it on purpose, and it drives me ballistic. And so I will not, if I hit a bad shot and it goes over there, that starts middle and just like goes over there, whatever. But I am not aiming at 4T and avoiding going OB. Is that a fine strategy? Sure, but I'm not doing that. And so I didn't aim right. I aimed just down the left side of the fairway. I just tried to hit a kind of a pretty straight shot, but just got a little bit protective, and I held off a little bit too much. And it hit a fine shot, but the wind was going to the right. It started at the middle of the fairway and just was bleeding. I thought it was going to be in the bunker, but it kind of hopped over the front part of the bunker, and it, the fescue being longer, old years, that rolls right back into the bunker. And because it's into the wind, I'm not at the front edge of the bunker. I don't mind that bunker shot at all. Like I've made eagles from that bunker at least a few times. And so like, get me in that bunker. That's fine with me. And I'm hitting my irons good that day. So get me in there. But it hangs up on that lip. And I'm just like, come on. I mean, I did hit a good shot. So it's like, I'm fine with a bad break. And so we get up there, and in the past, or this year, there's been a few, now that the fescue's longer, the ball stays up there. I have been up there a few times, and I've hit horrendous shots off that hill. I always try to get a hybrid, and you're standing like this, and I try to get it all the way up to the green. When you hit a bad shot, hit it to 100. Are you not a plus handicap? Can you not get up and down from 100 yards? So it's like, you don't need to hit it to the front of the green on every shot. And so I told myself, I'm like, you don't even look at a club longer than an 8-iron. Like, find out what club you can get comfortable with. And I don't care if you're 150 or out. Even if we don't birdie this hole, I don't care. We can birdie 8, we can birdie 9. Just get the ball up and give yourself a chance because you're putting good. And I grabbed an 8-iron, choked up to the steel, and actually smoked it off that lie. And it went all the way up to 85 yards, right in the left side of the fairway. So I'm perfect. And the pin's back right. Very, very easy golf shot. And it's just a matter of, getting the wedge distance right. And I hit a good shot, landed probably 15 feet short, spun up. So had about 7.5 feet for birdie, but it's straight up the hill. So, by no means a gimme, but a pretty easy putt. And if not for the circumstances, any good player would expect to make it quite a few times out of 10. But yeah, left edge, hit a good putt. And that's, I gave a good yell on that one. And so made that one. And that's when, at that point, I knew I was going to shoot 59. And because 8 and 9 were playing easy that night. Now 8 and 9 were downwind. And I don't know if this is good fortune or bad fortune, but the only pin I don't hit occasionally, and even obviously when we're playing, I can't tell you the last time I laid up on 8. Even if it's not the play, I hit driver every single time, or 3 wood, or whatever the club is. I have not laid up on 8 one time this year, not one time. And so we get up to 8, and I've made some bogeys on that hole because the fescue being that long, you have to be so precise, and it's not even the play half the time. So when that pin is front left, it is so far from the play. The only spot you can be is if you land it on the green and somehow with a driver, it doesn't scoot all the way over and it stays in that back rough, then you can chip back down to that front left pin, easy. Or from the front left of that bunker, not even the front right of the bunker, because you don't have enough room to hit a high and soft enough shot to get that close. And there's a very good chance you leave it in the bunker or, don't hit it close. So the only spot you can be are back right and front left. And you could sit there all day and not hit it into either of those spots. And so it's not the play at all. But I'm standing there, and with greens, it's only a 3 wood. So I'm like, what should I do? What should I do? So I decided, I'm like, no, don't be dumb. Lay up. You'll hit a great wedge to whatever, and you'll have a chance still. Right? You're at 13. You don't need technically another birdie. So just don't be stupid. And the one spot that you don't want to be when you're laying up to a front left pin is in the rough through the fairway. Right? Because then you can't spin it as much, and that pin is just around. Like the one spot I'd rather be 140 out in the fairway than 100 yards out in that rough, because it's an infinitely harder shot when you can't spin it to that pin that's 5 yards past the ridge of that bunker. And so of course I chip an 8 down there, and it goes so far, probably adrenaline, and it runs 2 yards into the rough. And I'm just like, you are so dumb. Like you literally just have to make this hard. You can't make it easy. And now I'm 113 out. and I'm in the rough. I got a good lie, like no problems there. But the wind's blowing a little bit, and the pin's like literally 5 yards, if that, over that front left
Pretty
pin.
tight, yeah.
And it's just 113 is a brutal yardage because I don't know if it's going to jump, and I can't. The one spot I can't be is leaving it short and plugging it into that front bunker, which is very easy to do. So I don't want to hit 56 because I run the risk of going way too far if it jumps. The play is to hit a full 60, and and I'm like, but if I don't, the wind doesn't get it, if it doesn't fly, like there's a very good chance that it lands in that bunker, and it's just like it's the only spot I don't want to be. But anyways, I said no, it's a full 60, just trust it, and I hit it. Honestly, I hit a great shot, landed right on the front of the green and spun up, but it's not going to spin that much downwind out of the rough, and it rolls probably 15 feet past the hole, right? Like just rolled, scooted right by the hole, and so I got 15 feet left edge, very easy putt. And I hit a good putt, and it just burned the edge. It didn't break as much as I thought. Probably pulled it a little bit, if I'm being honest. But no, it's still like that's fun. I'm good. Like we don't need any more. So then we get to 9, and
At this point, you've had 3 putts, 3 that have burned the edge, or we have 4.
it was probably actually honestly I putted pretty good. There wasn't most putts that I hit had a good look of going in. I don't know. I'd have to, like. There's probably a good 3 or 4 that really burned the edge that I thought when it came off the face that there's a good chance that it was going in. It just, I misread it, or it didn't break as much as I thought. And it didn't go in. But that was definitely one of them. I thought that when I first hit the putt on 8, I thought it was going in. But just it didn't break as much as I thought. But then we get to 9. So I just need par to shoot 58, 59. And the downwind a little bit. The wind is pretty calm at this point. Like there's not much going on, but it's a little bit downwind, elevation that that can make a difference. But just chipped a 9 down there, or sorry, a 5 down there, and I had 151 from the left side of the fairway. And this is once again can never be easy. So it's 151 to that back right pin. And the one spot you can't be long. Right. And with the greens being firmer, even though they haven't been too firm lately, but you landed on that back tier, it could very easily go into that back bunker. And you're not getting up and down from that back bunker. You're not.
I was there today.
Yeah, you're not getting up and down from that back bunker. So you can't go long. But 151, so I hit my pitching wedge probably 145 comfortably. And I hit my 9-iron 160 comfortably. So it's a terrible yardage for me. Right in the fairway, there's no jumper. I don't got to worry about that. But if I hit wedge, I'm not. Like, unless I really swing hard and I catch it perfect, it's not going to get all the way to that back pin. So chances are it's going to, even if I hit a good shot, it's probably going to land. Or even if it lands up top, it's probably going to spin back because you're juicing it. So spin's going to be going crazy. And I'm going to have the putt from the bottom up that tier, which isn't crazy hard, but that's not the putt I want. I want to putt an easy putt. I don't want to have to 2-putt for 59 from the bottom part of 9. But at the same time,
Who does?
I know. But at the same time, I don't want to hit a soft 9 and then, like I do lots, right, actually not hit it too soft and bounce it into that bunker and have no chance at getting that up and down. But I'm going back and forth, and I was hitting the soft shot good that day. And I'm like, no, you're hitting a soft 9. It's probably one of your best shots that you have is just a soft iron shot. Just hit that shot. I like it much more than doing the hard shot for me. And I hit just a perfect shot, landed right into the ridge, and it scooted up to 2.5 feet. And so, and I was like, as soon as it came off the face, I'm like,
I did it.
Thank you. Thank God that it's not traveling right or left. And as soon as I hit it, I knew I didn't hit it hard enough. I'm like, thank you. And then it landed into the ridge. Wasn't even thinking about making birdie. I just wanted to get it up on that back tier. And it just happened to go to 3 feet. And so it looked close from the fairway, but I didn't know how close. All I knew is that obviously I was not going to not shoot 59 at this point. But then we walk up to the green and it's only like this far, and now I'm like, okay, focus up for one more putt because 58 is better than 59. And so
situational?
No situational here. I couldn't live with myself. I took that as the situational. So, but yeah, and then it got up there, very easy putt, like left center, but still had to pay attention to it and went through the whole process, took the time and everything and hit made a good stroke and yeah. Made it, and then the boys went nuts, and yeah, it was fun. That was fun. And then Troy came, give me a big hug. A couple guys gave me a big hug from behind, and yeah, that was nice. And honestly, it still hasn't really. It didn't hit me right away. Like what?
Like you haven't really thought about it.
No, I don't know. I don't know. It just the fact that you have a 58 on your resume, like it just doesn't make sense. And I'm hoping next is to do that. A 59 from the blacks would be my next want. So hopefully we can do that. But still, I was very, very, very happy. So more happy because I actually started making some putts, right? More happy than shooting 58. That the things I've been working on with my putting are like, you see stuff like that happen and it feels like it's paying off, right? And so that was nice. That was nice.
We, I think lots of people after they heard about the round are just trying to process that. Like, so if I go and I play 2 balls and I play them both and I only have to count the birdies that I make.
Yeah.
I got to make 7 birdies off of both of those balls.
Yeah.
That's really, really hard.
Yeah.
Like I thought I played pretty well today. I think I had 6 birdies. Like that's really hard to get the 7th birdie. Plus I need to be a whole other golfer.
Yeah.
And then we were trying to think, okay, so what if how many 4-man scrambles have I been in? And the team didn't get to 14 under.
Well, we had the league scramble the week before, and we could go look at what everyone shot, because literally we had the league scramble the week before.
Right.
So yeah.
So you would have beat everybody in the league scramble.
No, there's a few.
Yeah, the team you were on.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
That was one of the
1900 team.
teams.
Yeah.
That was one of the teams. Yeah. But it was wild.
I think
But-
Hodgson's was 67 that night. And he's like, I lost by 10.
Yeah,
I
I know.
lost by 9.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, and sorry, Tiger, but I still lost to Tiger net because I was 66 net and he's 62. So, so not that week, but 2 weeks earlier, he was net 62.
15 off.
Yes,
that,
yes. So I still was, I was 58 net 66. So I still.
Well, so let's put that into context. So Tiger is net 62.
Yeah.
Shoots 77 with a 15 handicap.
Yeah.
He and Johnny Stroh get to.
I bet on them in the team champs.
And they were 86 as a team.
Yeah.
2-man best.
2-man best ball. They were 86.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. And then they lose in the division.
I thought there was a couple of shoe-ins that I had, and I thought they were one of them.
What?
Yeah.
That's all right. That's the way it goes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that is an awesome round.
How many other rounds can you recite like that one? Like that's you're talking yardages and like just
Obviously the longer it goes by, the harder. But I remember especially good rounds. Like I could tell you even from these last weekend in Sirocco, which they were 2 very mediocre rounds. I could tell you every yardage, every shot, every wind on every. I don't know. It's just something that I've always been able to do very easily. Obviously, maybe because I like I'm playing golf. I'm into it. I'm engaged. But yeah, that's always been something that I've been able to do very easily. It's just recite, especially obviously good rounds too. But yeah, I don't know. See if I can still do that in a year or 2 from now.
you'll always be able to go back to the podcast.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. It's forever now. So that's good.
So like the course is in great shape. The greens run really true. The fescue is there, like it hasn't been for a few years, but we can't really stretch it out, right? It can't be set up for that 7,400 yard kind of thing. What do you think next week's going to look like?
I haven't looked at the weather yet, but I've heard from other people that the weather is supposed to be pretty nice. I mean, when you have good players that are going to be coming to the Open, the only defense TV is going to have is going to be the wind. And so if there's no wind, the scores are going to be really low. That's my prediction. Obviously, if they play, I don't know what they're going to do with 13. If 13 plays at the back tee behind 12 green, that's going to add half a shot to that hole. So that, over the course of 4 days, that's, 2.5 shots or 2 shots. So that'll make a difference. But if the wind's up, but the scores are going to be low. I would predict that if you just have neutral conditions, so the wind's not too hard or it's not too cold or too hot, I think the winning score will be, around 16 under par. And then if anyone has a really good 3 days, it could be lower. But yeah, I think it'll be around that. It's going to be low.
I thought we talked about the great equalizer, leaving the bunkers as they are.
Maybe, and that could be a huge advantage for me because honestly, I know I'm not oblivious. I know our bunkers need a lot of work, but I play our bunkers great. And I don't know if I'm just used to not having to take a bunch of sand. I don't know if I don't get into the bunkers that are really bad.
Sounds like you don't get into bunkers.
No, I do get into bunkers. I'll tell you what bunkers I get into. I don't very often get into the one-on-one because I don't like to think I'm not going to miss the green with a wedge in my hand or if I'm, pretty close. Don't get into the 1-on-2 very often. I get into one in the 3 a lot, front left. I aim at that one quite a bit, especially if the pin's not at the back right. So that bunker is always okay. I mean, at least relative to the other ones. 4, I haven't been this year in that one too much. 5, I'm in a decent amount. That one's okay, I think. 6, I'm not usually in either of those too often. 7 back one can get a little dicey. 8 short is usually okay. I'm not usually too much. I haven't been in the ones on 9 this year. 10, I'm not usually in that one. 11 front left is okay. 12, I'm not usually in that one. 13, I'm in quite a bit. 13s are okay, I think. There's some decent sand. 14, I'm not usually in that one. 15, not usually in those ones. 16, there's no green side. 17.
Well, there is one green side.
Oh,
Nobody ever goes in it until they do.
On 16?
Yeah, behind the green.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, they're actually.
Yeah, because I
there is one, yeah.
SP pulled his sandwich out from there when he threw it over my head. It just singed over my head.
Yeah, but that could be a good equalizer. We'll see. There'll be some, hopefully it's better. Like if we can add some before Tuesday starts. But I can envision some people whining if they just hit a little bit of a blade shot. But these guys are good players. If I can go in there, and I'm talking maybe about the better players playing next week. If I can go in there, and obviously it's my home course, so I know what to expect. But they should be able to figure it out. I'm always a proponent of that. Like, everyone's playing the same course. Like, figure it out. You're a good player.
Can I ask Sheldon a question about this?
Yeah.
So Mo, you've heard Dillon talk very explicitly about a round of golf, his thought process, the kinds of shots he was thinking, and I'd like to think, other than skill and ability, like I think about golf that way. Those kinds of like the idea of shaping and holding like that. So like all the things Dillon just said, I think about without any skill or ability in execution. When you hear Dillon talk and you ask them the question about like the preciseness of yardages and remembering all those things, when you think about your game and this is your best year of golf, when you hear him talk that detailed about the thinking behind golf, what are you thinking about when he says
Long way to go. It's a long way to go.
Did it just illuminate a whole different world of golf, or?
Yeah, but maybe had an idea that was the thought process was there like that and in depth like that, but just solidified it that there's a whole lot more going on upstairs than what I got going on. Yeah.
And so for Corey, when you're thinking, this is Corey's best year of golf in a long time. Actually, it is his best year of golf. When you think about Dillon talking about that round of golf, or even training and all of the things and the efforts you've put in to get good, what do you think about? What are you thinking about when he's talking?
I don't know, because I'm old.
No, but we're all still in we're all still in the state of becoming.
Yeah.
Yes, I like that.
I would say what you've said reinforces some of my reasons for getting good are all right over there behind Turner. That's like working out and getting stronger has made the biggest difference. The sim has helped, and I would say in 2 ways. One, you don't feel like you're I had the exact same thing. I shot 66 first round of the year. I've never shot that low in my life. And it was just you hit the ground running in the spring. But the other thing the sim has done has made it more comfortable to be low. And so you go in the sim and you're like 8, 9 under, and you're like,
that's a very good point.
It's not a big deal. And I think that has transferred. I don't get I've never approached the 59 area, but if I get 3, 4, 5 under, I'm not nervous about it anymore.
100%.
And so I think that has helped. I'm not a shot shaper like you guys. My improvement has come from basically creating a single miss and living with that. And it works really well at Desert Blume because you can miss all day long and not get in trouble. And so I'm mostly other than with the driver, it's a big cut, but mostly I'm a straight shooter.
It's funny that you actually bring that up, and this has been probably, I've had maybe other chances, but this has been the first legit look at sub 60 round for me. But on the sim, literally when we play Trev and Bill, there's been 5 or 6 sub 60 rounds already. And obviously sim, there's not as much variables going on, but you still feel the nerves, right? Like you still have to deal with that. So I do wonder if, playing sim golf these last couple of years and I have shot sub 60 on the sim, but doing that more often didn't make it so I wasn't like insanely nervous when I was on the course, even though it is completely different. I mean, there's something to be said there. You know, usually people don't on their first time, you know, close that out. And so maybe, you know, I didn't on the sim, right? Like, so it's just, I wonder.
It's like a rehearsal.
Yeah. You know, you wonder if that kind of helps you, you know, make it feel more normal rather than this crazy thing that never happens. And you kind of get more nervous than you need to be to play your best golf. And so that's a good point. I never thought of it that way. So
Mose talks about the Matrix all the time. Like,
if
you could do it in the Matrix, you could do it in real life. Right?
That is true. That is true. Yeah.
And how about you? How are you feeling about next week?
I feel good. I know these next 4 days are going to be big. I do have some things I need to clean up. Wasn't very happy with my wedging, my chipping, and my putting at Sirocco these last 2 days. And just seeing Wes and Mitch, the guys that I played with in the final group, and the guys that will be near the leaders by next Thursday, just seeing them chip and putt it, they're just chipping it, putting it a lot better than I am. And so my ball striking's never been an issue at Sirocco this weekend. I hit 27 out of 28 fairways, and the one fairway I missed was about 1 yard off, and it's not a wide open course.
Yeah, we played it actually.
Yeah. So literally, like, I'm not exaggerating. I counted, me and Nate counted after, because he's like, dude, I don't think you've hit a bad tee shot this week. And I was 27 for 28, and I was 34 out of 36 greens and reg. And so, I mean, and both greens and regs that I missed were like marginal, like it weren't even big misses. And so when I look at that, I can't physically hit it much better. You know, you can always hit it closer. You can always, you know, beep it, but it's like, that's not why I'm not winning. It's, you know, the why I'm not winning is that, you know, I made a 6 on hole 3 from 20 yards off the green after 2 perfect golf shots, right? And doing that or not making, you know, if you get 7 looks inside of 120 yards and you only birdie 1, that's not good enough at my level. You have to birdie 3 to 4 of those, right? And that's what Mitch and Wes do. And they don't do it just when they play good. They do it quite often because I've played with them a lot. And so I need to, you know, if I'm going to do well next week, I need to make sure that I'm scoring, right? And I can't just be hitting good drives. I can't just be hitting greens and reg. I have to make some birdies. I have to make a lot of birdies next week. And so it's just kind of these next 4 days, I need to, you know, figure out a system that's going to allow me to do that better than I have. And which I honestly, I've been playing good. It's just, you know, it needs to be like, I do think that 15, 16, 17 under will win next week. And you don't just stumble into that. You have to, you know, you have to be playing good, and you have to have everything kind of.
Or a round of 14 and 2 and 2.
That would be good. That would be good.
You probably even have an over par rounds in every one.
That would be okay.
If there's 50K wins all weekend,
I honestly,
or all tournament, that's good for you.
Love it.
Yeah.
I have played in the wind growing up in Medicine Hat, and just I do find that my ability in my ball striking to control my ball flight, it does provide me a little bit of an advantage in the wind. And I look back at rounds like, so this year even, first round of the year was at Pitcher Butte. It was literally blowing 60 clicks. Shoot 5 under, tie for first, losing a playoff, but beat the field by quite a bit. Besides the one guy that was his home course, and he played really well. But that you know, so that's, you know, but the thing is that when I walk off the course that day, it doesn't feel like I was anything special. Whereas, like, you know, other people to shoot that 67 in those conditions might be walking like, that was the best round I've ever played. Even though they're a very good player, it's just like in the wind that my ball, it doesn't affect my ball, I like to think, as much. And I do have the kind of shots that I make it easier to play into the wind and play in the wind. And it also makes it harder to putt in the wind. So guys you're not going to go out and have 21 putts on a windy day, because you're, especially me, you know, you're blowing around. So all of a sudden, you know, my pars that I'm 2-putting, you know, I'm missing those 10-footers for birdie instead of making them. Like, now it's okay, you know. And so even at the PGA of Canada championships here that I should have won, that I made some dumb mistakes coming in down the stretch and made one really bad rules infraction. But I wasn't sharp yet at that point of the year. And the first 2 rounds, I was 71, 72. So I was 1 under after 2 days. It wasn't that nice the first 2 days. So that wasn't like, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't good. It could definitely have been a lot better. But I was 7 back going into that last round. And I was in the 3rd or 4th to last group. I think it was the 3rd. No, I think it was the 4th. I think there was 9 guys ahead of me. I'd have to go look, but it doesn't matter. And that last day at Mickelson, it was borderline unplayable. It was the windiest round I've ever played in my life. It was 70 click winds. The ball was having a tough time staying on, and the greens weren't even that fast. They were maybe a 10.5. So like for that to not be able to stop your ball like that, the wind was going pretty good. And I was going through that day and I wasn't even playing that good. I was, doing what I normally do in the wind, but I didn't once think that I had a chance to win the tournament. That's where I screwed up. I should have known that if I played good, I could have had a chance in the last few holes. And I told myself, I just wanted to shoot under par that day. And whoever, if I shot under par, I knew I'd move quite a bit up the board. And I'm standing on the 15th hole and we have Golf Genius now. And I didn't look at the board all day. But I thought, it's playing really tough. I think I was 1 or 2 under going into 15 and for the day. And I'm like, let's just see where we're at. So maybe that influences strategy a little bit coming in. And it caught me completely off guard when I looked, I was leading, right? I was at 3 under and I was leading the tournament. And I'm like, what? No way. Like there was 9 guys ahead of me. One guy was 7 shots ahead of me. And there was another guy that was 6 shots ahead of me. And all of a sudden I'm standing with 4 holes to play and I'm leading the tournament. And this is where that's just brutal preparation on my part. Like I should have been knowing that I had a chance to win. And that way, when I looked at that, I wasn't as shocked. And it's not like I didn't start shaking or anything, but it caught me by surprise, and then I almost birdied that same hole. And then I hit a bad shot on the next hole off the tee, but I got up and down for par. So I had 3 holes left and I was leading the tournament and I made a bad swing. The wind was coming hard from the left. But I mean, we don't need to go into the details of that round. But anyways, what I was trying to get at is that those windy rounds, it doesn't even feel like I'm playing that good. But somehow every time that it's windy like that, relative to the field, I do very well. So if I had a perfect 3 days, I would want it to blow 50 every day at Desert Blume for the 3 days, but it's not going to. But that would be for me. I would, I still think I have a good chance to do well, but I almost could guarantee that I would do well because there's some guys that, whether they're spinny players, whether they're highball players, they just can't play in those conditions very well, or whether they don't have a knockdown shot, whether they're not comfortable hitting 6 iron from 160, those shots are easy for me where they're just not easy for other people. And that's why my ideal tournament conditions are blow as much as you can. And then it makes it harder to make putts too. And I don't 3-putt too often. I just don't make a whole lot of putts. So that just equalized the putting green. And it just makes it's a good recipe for me to have a chance to win that tournament. So, yeah.
Well, all the best.
Yeah. So it should be fun. It should be fun.
You're following along.
Good local representation.
It's been awesome.
Guys,
And I think that's just a testament to how many good players we have at our club. Like I was looking at the list today and I knew, but just the leaderboard came out today, or even in the, I glanced at the end of the article when I saw it and Bruce talked about all the guys that were playing. It's just it's amazing. It's funny because I don't think the guys at our club know how many good players we have at our club, and that's not normal, right? You go to any other club and I go all over to play in these tournaments, you don't have 10 plus handicaps at a golf course. You don't, and it's pretty impressive what we have there. And even the fact that we had 9 guys qualify and we have 9 local guys, that's very, very cool stuff, and I try to tell that to our groups and our friends and hope it kind of resonates with them. But yeah, I find that just so much fun that you can just close your eyes and pick anyone and you can have a great match just because there's so many guys that are good. It's very cool.
Is it true that Nate hit it over the water on 3?
No, Mike did.
Folk.
Yes. And it wasn't even windy. It's just silly stuff. The tee boxes were at the front, but it doesn't matter. I'm standing on that tee and I'm it's not even remotely crossing my mind to hit driver. And Mike hits it way further than me, but if it's downwind, because I can hoist it a little bit better than he can, I can carry it as far as him on certain days. And that day there was barely any wind. It did not even cross I've never even bushnelled what it is to go over that water. One, because it's just a dumb play. Right. And 2, because I on a normal day, I don't have that much speed like he does. And Mike just he hits such a good driver of the golf ball. He loves hitting it everywhere. So he hits it on 9, hits it on, on this day, he hit it on 3, hits it in very absurd places. Mm-hmm. And he's been hitting his driver very good this year. And yeah, we're playing league with Fruzen and Fritz. And I think there was maybe Bradshaw. Yeah, and I see him walk over the turn. I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, what is it to carry? And he was 320 just over the path. And it just, it wasn't that windy. It was a little bit downwind, but it wasn't like, it was very calm. And he just roasted it. And as soon as he hit it, I knew it was over. I'm like, you are such a loser. And he hits it. It went over by like 2 yards. And yeah.
And so what did he hit in?
Oh, it was only 170, and it was pins in the front. I think he hit like neither 9 or wedge. Yeah, yeah. Like it was just
Jason Zubak and
I know.
Jenny Sadlowski
Yeah.
territory. Like that.
yeah. Like he hits it like him and Nate hit it so far. Mike is a little bit more efficient with it because he swings not as fast as Nate, but hits it probably farther consistently. But yeah, he just hits it so far. He's just got those levers that I will never have.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, it's very natural for him, and it's impressive. He hits the driver very good, very good. So yeah, he loves hitting it too. So that makes it more fun to watch too.
What's your favorite shot to hit?
Favorite shot to hit. I love hitting a bullet, even though I don't hit it that often. I love hitting a bullet cut driver that doesn't go very high. I just think that the aesthetic of that shot is so pretty. I do like hitting that shot, but I can't answer that as a singular answer, but I love hoisting drivers. I find that really fun. Like one of my favorite shots at Connaught when I was there was on 16, teeing it up like this high, and then like literally like leaning back like this and just hoisting it over the trees that were like 10 yards in front of you. Okay. I love that shot. I love hitting a sauteed, a little soft iron shot that doesn't go very high. I think that's very cool. Like even just like, I mean, not a stinger, because a stinger has speed, but like just a very flighted iron shot. Really, really, I find that very pretty to look at. So yeah.
That was on my list most. I said if you only could hit one shot shape for the rest of the season, what would it be?
Oh, draw. I'm a drawer of the golf ball.
You'd
Yeah, I like the draw. It's always been very.
You've liked everything. Like you haven't said it.
Yeah. But no, I like the draw, and it's who I am. Like if I always, especially when I'm teaching lessons, I always try to help people learn how to hit a draw, because just fundamentally and technically, there's a lot of good things that you have to be doing in your swing in order to produce one, and a lot of those same things is what the average golfer struggles with. Like closing the face, shallowing the club, all that. But yeah. If I just close my eyes and just swing the golf club, it's the ball's drawing. So if I put no thoughts in my head and I just swing the golf club, the ball's going to draw. And for some people, the ball fades when they do that. But I'm a drawer of the golf ball. I aim right, and I see the ball go a little left. So that's who I am.
Yes. You ever think there'll be a time where someone sees you and doesn't identify you as a golfer, but as a golf instructor?
I don't know. I think about that. And I love teaching. I love teaching. It's very gratifying for me, and I enjoy doing it. But I'm a player at heart. So I don't, as much as I'd love to help people, and I think people can identify me how they want to, but I would like to be known as a player. Yeah. And I don't want to be known only as an instructor. I want to win all the big tournaments that I can play in. And so I hope
you need that competitive fix.
Yeah. Yeah.
Scott Stiles has kind of entered that space. Hey, he's gone from that high level player to.
Yeah. And Scotty's still, and actually I'm paired with him next week. Okay. The draw came out this morning. So I know Scott pretty good, but no, Scott's still a great player, but he is definitely, he's leaning in pretty hard to the instruction. And for all I've heard, he's a very good instructor. I'm not sure that I won't go see him for some short game stuff, because that's where he really specializes in, some chipping and putting down the road. But yeah,
he's had Ryan Hawley come in a couple of times. With force plates and stuff. Yeah. I've tried to get in, but
it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, one guy, there's only so much time, and he probably only. I've seen when he comes to, because I've kind of looked at some of Ryan's stuff too, just because I could see myself, and I don't know how serious I'm ever gonna take this teaching thing. Like, just depends what I'm doing, but I could definitely see myself, having some, and I haven't put too much thought into this, but having like a studio of my own, where whether it's at DB or not, see what Trev and Bill want to do there, but having like all that tech, whether it's a TrackMan. Video, force plates, all that stuff. Because I'm very, like, all my social media, that's all that it is, right? All the TPI stuff, all the force plate stuff. Like I watch literally every time I go to bed, I watch all the Cameron McCormick, like his teaching center is unreal. Like all those guys that post content, like I watch that stuff all the time. So that stuff's very, very cool to me. So, but those things also cost a really good amount of money, and so, it would be a pretty significant investment on my part to do that. But I would also think it would be very cool to have a setup like that.
You could get Bill and Trev to do it, except you'd never get to use it.
That's what I was thinking exactly.
right.
Tell them their game will improve. They'll be like,
Yes, I know. Exactly. So,
So like in that conversation we had a couple of years ago, we did talk about like the pro golf angle and the chasing it and there's lots of quick simple answers. Well, I don't have the time or the money or what. And at the time, one of the things that was prohibitive was money. But you've just talked about the game and the passion for, because that's part of it too. You talk about, we played with Ronnie Posnikoff in the team champs, and Ronnie chased it really hard as a junior. His family did too, and he just said, like, I'm retired from team golf. And then I asked him about his university experience, and he said, it was like his Division one year, and he said, it's just incredible. But like, no, I was done golf. Like you're not done golf.
No.
So besides the putter, like is golf, besides chasing Alberta championships and next week, and is chasing pro golf still, is there a window for you?
I think so. I don't know. Like I haven't put too much thought into it, but it still is the same answer. Like I don't know if I'd want to do it on my own dollar, and I'd have a tough time asking someone for some money to do that. And then, to do that, I'd have to uproot everything that I got going on here, which I don't know if I'm willing to do, because I do like the things that I have going on here. And I think I can do that and still play in pretty high level tournaments, like the PGA Canada Championship, PGA of Canada Assistance, the Alberta Open.
There's an avenue for you to do still.
Yeah, you're right. And like
that.
When I look at someone like Wes, right, like I could, he definitely, I think he played on, nationwide and stuff like that. He gave it a run, but now he
U.S. Opens.
Yeah, he played in 2 U.S. Opens, but like he like if I ended and I had his resume at the end of my life, like I would be very content. And he never made it like crazy on the nationwide or whatever, but he's had an unbelievable career. Obviously, 5-time Open champion, won every event that I've played in a bazillion times. Like if I looked back and that was what all it was, I'd be extremely fulfilled and happy, because I think he's probably the most decorated Alberta golfer of all time. Right. So like that's a pretty, you don't have to be on the PGA Tour for that to be a pretty cool title to have, and so I don't know if I need to, get in my van and travel to every Canadian Tour event and try to go to Q school for Corn Ferry too. Like, I don't know if that needs to be the avenue for me to kind of feel like I've done enough for myself.
Scratch the itch, for sure.
Because that's what, when people think of pro golf, that's what they think of. But to me, like what I'm doing right now is obviously nowhere near what the guys on tour do. But like that is pro golf. Like I'm playing for money. I'm playing against guys that, obviously the depth of the field might not be as good as the Corn Ferry Tour, but the top players are extremely good. Like if you guys came and watched Mitch play yesterday in the pouring rain and shoot whatever he shot 7 or 8 under, you guys be like, that guy did not miss a single golf shot today. He hit every fairway, and every shot that he hit went right at the flag, and he made all his putts. So like, how does it get much better than that? And I'm not sure that it does. I think it's just about, you have to fully have the resources and the time and the commitment and the mentality to do that, but just do that same thing at a little tougher golf course against better players, where in your head you're just making it a bigger deal, but it's not that much of a bigger deal, right? Like, and so it's just tough. But I don't know, until I want to win all the tournaments that I play in at least once, right? And so whether that's the PGA Canada Assistance, Alberta Open, I got the PGA of Alberta, but I don't have the PGA Alberta Assistance. So when I played in last week, I would like to win all of those, right? And so, if I do that, then I don't, for me, I don't need to feel like I need to try to go play in the Corn Ferry. Like, I mean, we'll see. Like, I mean, maybe if actually, I've only told this to my dad, but I would like to stay in my never aging Asian body. And when I'm 50 years old, I want to go play Champs Tour. Yeah. That would be fun. And if I can do the right things work wise and, be relatively close to, having enough passive income and retiring by then, sure, I'd like to go play Champs Tour. That's something, because,
Would you let your parents watch then?
I'm hoping they'd still be around, but yes, I would definitely.
They are youthful.
Yes. I'd love to do that and just travel around and go play stuff like that for a little bit. That would be really cool to me. it's really hard for a regular folk to make the Champs Tour because it's more of a marketing thing. You get all the guys that, even if they aren't good anymore from the PGA Tour, that go, like John Daly. So, but there are lots of stories of guys that make it, like even Stephen Alker, who, right? Like he's a PGA professional that didn't have much of a pro career, but is a teaching guy, and he's had really good success on the tour. So something like that, I kind of see that. I'm like, okay, to me that's feasible, right? Like, and I do think that I do the stuff off the course well enough that by the time I'm 50, I won't have.
Well, you will have passed people in other parts of their lives.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and I won't, because not everyone takes care of themselves. Right, it's not a secret, and so I'd like to think that
There's our goal.
That's peak athlete right there. So that's not what I'm referring to, but no, I just think that by 50, I will have been able to maintain what I have now, maybe better than other people, which would give me, maybe a slight advantage of still playing a decent level at that age. So that's kind of, I've never actually said that to anyone besides my dad, but yeah, that would be something that maybe on the back burner, if everything works out perfectly, that would be pretty cool for me. So, and I do want to play in an RBC Canadian Open.
That would be cool.
That would be cool. So whether it's through a Monday qualifier or whether the Order of Merit, PGA of Canada or a merit winner, he gets an exemption every year. So Wes has played it through that avenue. Kevin Stinson was the representative from the PGA of Canada this year.
And they have a Monday qualifying too.
Yep. So they have a Monday qualifier too. But yeah, that would be something that I would really like to do before I'm done playing golf too. So that would be, and I think, one guy from our association goes every year. You have to,
Be the guy.
You have to be the guy. So that would be cool as well. Which I think on that list, I haven't looked at it in a while, but I think I'm like 25th, right? But it's not easy to close that gap, but you have to start winning, like, all of these. Like last week I needed to win, and then PGA of Alberta in 2 weeks I need to win that, and then when I go to the PGA Assistants later, I need to win that, or at least like one or two, and you start to move up that Order of Merit. And the Order of Merit I think is like a 3 or 4 year cycle. So like you start racking up those, and then you start getting to the top 5, and then you win the right events, and you could vault you to number 1. And so yeah, that would be cool.
Oh, we'll come down and watch.
Yeah.
Well, by that time we'll have like media badges.
Yeah.
That's right.
Exactly. You'll be the no laying up of Canada.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's exactly.
That's Corey's goal. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a way to wrap this up, but you mentioned a name, and when we think about talented individuals in sport coming out of our community, and we mentioned Dale earlier, who naturally was a bit of a savant as a golfer, as a young golfer, and needing to possess all the tools to play pro golf. And then you mentioned Mitch, and I remember Mitch when Cottonwood Coulee here in Medicine that opened up. I remember him as a kid being down there, and him just saucing balls over the putting green onto the top. Like he was, instead of gathering range balls, he was hitting them from the putting green over the putting green, trying to hit the buckets on the driving range over there, because there's no one around. And he was just a little kid, right? His dad had ran the golf course, and so Mitch, obviously one of the most talented golfers. Dale would be, other than your recent article in the newspaper, probably a bit unheralded in our city as one of the top players to ever play in our city. Would that be accurate from our perspective, or?
Well, Dale has the most Instagram followers.
Yeah, I'm not going to win if that's the way that we measure it. Yeah,
but it is interesting how we think back in our day of Kelly's had a great career amateur wise, but not those kinds of numbers at all. Terry Zachary played on the Canadian Tour a bit. Donnie Graham back in the day would have played on the Canadian Tour, and played some pro and senior tour stuff. But certainly Dillon, not just because you shot 58, but within our community, people who've been around the golf community a long time, you would absolutely be someone, whether people talk about it or not, but for sure would be one of the players to speak about when we talk about top golfers to ever come out of our community.
And hands down, the best golfer we've had on this podcast.
by a 21 stroke.
Well, that's good. And that, to me, that it's very cool to hear that. But you know, even when I was coaching Turner basketball, I tried to have, and I try to, you know, especially if I'm, you know, helping people with their game or whether I was coaching basketball, I try to think bigger than just in this city, right? Because I do want to stack my game up against people more than just Med Hat. You know, and so while that might be a cool title to have, it is, I would like to think bigger like that for me. And that might be, some people might say that as arrogance, but that's just the way that I think, because, you know, we have some great players here. We have Mike, we have Ryan and Dale and all those guys that have done great things in this game. But if I can't just be happy with that. Like if I'm going to beat Wes, if I'm going to beat Mitch, like I do have to, you know, to think that's not good. Like,
well, right now they are the next runner in front of you that you're looking to pass.
For sure.
Right? You're not looking at the guys you go on their morning jog with. You are looking to the next runner to pass, and yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, it is, and that's, you know, I mean, everyone needs something to keep them going, and you know, if I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. in a few hours and go to the gym, I need something. I'm not just gonna, you know, you're not going to sustain doing that if you don't have something to chase. And so I hope that everyone has something to chase, and that's what keeps me going. And luckily for me, I got guys like Mike and Ryan that make sure that if I ever slip up, they're right there with me. So they're gonna pass me, or if they're at wheel, you know, you can argue whatever, but you know, they're right there and they're great players. And then if I slip up, the you know, guys that I play against in the other tournaments, they're not gonna play bad, right? And so it makes it very easy to put in the work when you know that there's people, you know, ready to put in the work and pass you anytime.
Well, that fits with how we got here in the first place. This is Sheldon's brainchild of never wanting to not get better.
Yep.
Corey's living it in his training sessions, and now we've got a guest on to mirror the sentiment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you. I'm glad you
that was a lot of fun. So
you said yes.
Yeah.
She said yes.
But no, I can't wait to listen to all the episodes that you guys put out. How many are you thinking for season 1?
I don't know. I think we'll just keep rolling with. We've got, this is 5 now, and we've got a couple more in the queue coming up, and we haven't officially released one, but we're super close. And
Well, we've got 4 followers.
Yep.
Right here.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if family members will follow.
Well, Turner should give a follow. I know he's young and cool, but he should still definitely.
He's stuck keys, yes.
Yeah, he has them memorized by the end.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yes, anytime. That was a lot of fun.